Well, once again, it's time for Blogger's Blurb at the Kimberley Civic Center. Josh Lockhart, the Kimberley Dynamiter blogger, is here to talk about tonight's hockey game and what else is going on with the league. So first of all, let's talk about the hockey game. The Dynamiters jump up to a 5-1 lead after one period of hockey, and it looked like it might be a blowout. The Dynamiters taking total control.
It looked a lot like last week.
And the Columbia Valley Rockies said, wait just a minute, we're still playing in this hockey, and they came up with 3 goals in that period, making it 5-4. One of them on a 4-minute power play that the Dynamiters took. So
I knew after the first period to not rule out the Rockies because they scored on their first shot, and then they had 1 goal, I think, on 3 shots. So
they had 4 goals on 11 shots.
11 shots, right? So they have this ability to capitalize or convert on their shots. So I knew not to rule them out yet.
Well,
so
the Dynamiters don't normally allow a team to get back into a hockey game. But talking to Jerry Banks, who's our color man tonight, early in that first period, he mentioned that oftentimes what happens is the team will let off the gas. They didn't in the first period. They dominated that first period.
Yep.
You could see a little bit of pushback by the Rockies in that period. They scored a goal. They got some momentum. But still, the Dynamiters scored the 5th goal in that period to give a 4-goal lead going into the second period.
Yep.
But that second period, the Rockies, although they didn't get a lot of shots, their first power play opportunity, they capitalized, and they got a lot of momentum out of that.
Yeah.
And I thought they played a much better second period, obviously, than the first period, scoring 3 goals.
Yeah. So I went into this game saying this is the game to watch for the night in the KIJHL because the Rockies were 8-2 coming into tonight, and the Dynamiters 9-1. So it was like, this is the game to watch. Then when it was 5-1 after one period, it was like, maybe this isn't the game to watch.
Right.
Now that it's 5-4 going into the third period, we're back onto this is the game to watch.
And the way I looked at going into tonight's hockey game, we're a little over halfway through the season. The Dynamiters have a 7-point lead on the Columbia Valley Rockies. Yeah. If they win tonight, they've got a 9-point cushion on the Rockies and a game in hand. And I'm figuring, okay, that's pretty much going to be it for the rest of the season. Dynamiters will be able to skate to the first place in the Rocky Mountain Division, or the Eddie Mountain Division of the Rocky Mountain, the Kootenay Conference, excuse me.
You've been in this league for too long. You've got all those names to remember.
But the Rockies have something to say about that. If the Rockies win tonight, the lead now is 5 points by the Dynamiters. The Dynamiters still have that game in hand, but it's a lot tighter than a 9-point lead with a game in hand.
Absolutely.
So, and an extremely important game for both teams, your traditional 4-pointer. And it's just a question of what the Dynamiter coaching staff is saying to their players in the dressing room, and I'm guessing we can almost hear them from here.
Yes.
That there might be a few shouted words.
Yes, because same thing with what happened for the Rockies in the first intermission, because table turn. So this is going to be a fascinating third period. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I was super impressed with Wednig as he came in and took over the goaltending.
Yeah.
He let his first shot in by the Dynamiters for their 5th goal. But since then, he's been outstanding.
Yes, he has been.
And the Dynamiters have missed a lot of close-in opportunities. But Wednig has made some outstanding saves and keeping his team in the game, and they clawed back. So they are right in this hockey game, trailing 5-4.
I haven't seen the Dynamiters fan on so many shots and passes as I've seen all year. So there's something going on there with their ability to make those plays, because there's been breakaways, there's been passes that have just been off that they usually would make any other night.
A couple of crease passes that went under the stick or over the stick, and wide open nets that they couldn't hit. A couple of, I don't know, there were about 3 or 4 breakaways that one, I think Kingston had one that he tried to shoot and he fanned completely on a breakaway.
Yeah, there's a 3-on-1.
2-on-1s, 3-on-1s. The Dynamiters just unable to capitalize. And if they get the same chances in the third period, it doesn't bode well for the Rockies, because they're not going to do that for 60 minutes.
No. But it's very uncharacteristic so far. So that's kind of where I'm at with this game. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Let's just
Leave it at. And both starting goaltenders are now out of the game.
Yeah.
Brett Anderson now playing for the Dynamiters, and C.J. Wednick for the Rockies. And we'll have to see how that pans out in the third period. So let's talk about the rest of the league, the rest of the division. Obviously, the Columbia Valley Rockies still in a solid second place.
Yep.
But third and fourth place now have switched places, where the Golden Rockets now sitting in fourth place with the Fernie Ghost Riders coming on strong and playing, I believe, a home and home. And I think they won both games of the home and home with Golden, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway,
I think they're on a 3-game winning streak. So yes, yeah. So
your thoughts on how this division is shaping up?
Not at all as either of us predicted.
Nope. the
Thundercats,
the Crescent Valley Thundercats, still can't get their act together.
Nope.
Although I understand that they're
like they could still get back into it. Like, it's not like they're so far out. Like, if you were to put them though in some other divisions, they'd be in a playoff spot.
Yes. This is the division where most of the teams in the division are above 500.
Yes.
In fact, all but Crescent are above 500 in this division, and no other division has more than 2 in above 500 as far as the standings go.
Yeah.
So
just keep that in mind.
Exactly.
So that's where I'm like, you can't rule out the Thundercats. They could still stampede in if they get their act together.
They have to go on a pretty good winning streak in order to get close to that fourth playoff spot.
Their January needs to be fantastic.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what else is happening in the league?
So the big thing coming up is the showcase that's happening in 11 days? 12 days. Starting the 27th to the 29th.
28th, 29th, and 30th.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the Dynamiters play on the 28th and the 29th. Yeah. So they're not going to be around for that third day.
I know, I'm hopping on the team bus with them.
So they're playing 100 Mile House on Friday night, and they're playing Osoyoos on Saturday night. Yeah. Those are going to be 2 good games for the Dynamiters, and they'll have a chance to showcase the talent they have for the college scouts.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring it up is it doesn't seem to be going as smoothly as everyone would have hoped, in the sense where they still need volunteers.
Right.
I think referees have finally been confirmed. And when I say volunteers, they need like scorekeepers, goal judges, all those things, because those haven't been filled.
So are you going to be one of the volunteers when you go over there?
I have no idea what's going to happen when I get there.
It might be like a Pee Wee tournament where the teams that are playing have to provide some of the volunteer.
Right. So with saying that, though, some parents aren't thrilled about that they have to pay to fly in or whatever to go see their kids at Kamloops, and then they're being asked to volunteer instead of watching their kids play. So anyway, it's the first time that this event is happening. I think it's a great idea. The time of year hasn't really impressed me, but there's a lot of kinks that are being ironed out as we go through growing pains of the first ever showcase.
I know the Kimberley Dynamite organization would like to host a showcase or the Cyclone Taylor Cup at some point in the future. And one thing that you can say about the Kimberley Dynamite organization is volunteers. They have a good handle on getting people to come in and help out and putting on an event like that. They did it for the Cyclone Taylor Cup in 2011, I believe it was, and they did an outstanding job.
Yeah, and teams like Fernie and Invermere would make great locations next year for a showcase as well.
Yep.
We could even choose a neutral location like Cranbrook, right? So there's a lot of options to bring it over here. Hopefully the teams from the West will come out this way, but it'll well, if it's a showcase, they pretty much have to because they're regular season games, much like the Dynamiters are playing 2 regular season games in Kamloops. Yes.
They're obligated.
Okay. Maybe without people hearing this, but I'll say it out loud. Hopefully I don't get myself in trouble. It seems if the Okanagan Conference likes the idea, it happens. If they don't like the idea...
Are you saying that they might have more pull with the KIJHL than some of the Eastern squad?
I'm
sure what would happen is much like the Cyclone Taylor Cup, it would be like a rotational thing.
Yes, that's the goal. That's the hope.
So East and West. So having said that, it would be nice that an Eastern team would be able to host something like that. And obviously, Kimberley being the most central in this division would be a good place to hold it. Castlegar, Nelson, on the other side of the Kootenay division would also, or Kootenay Conference would also be a good place to hold it.
Yep. I would even throw Spokane in there. I think Spokane would make a great host. I realize that it's crossing border and things, and there'd be a lot of red tape there, but I think that would be another excellent location. Yeah,
they have a great facility for holding it. All right.
Anyway, so I just bring that because it's an exciting time, but we're 12 days away, and there's a lot of anxious energy around it. So that's where it's at.
Well, hopefully they'll come together, and the people of Kamloops, and Kamloops is a terrific city, and they get behind sports in that.
Yes.
They get a lot of championship vibes in Kamloops. So I think at the end of the day, it'll come together, and they'll do a great job.
Totally. Oh, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Like I know, I'm totally looking forward to it. It's just the lead up has been anxiety inducing.
Well, if they need a webcaster, I'm more than willing to travel.
I think they
as
got
well.
those figured out, the webcasters and such, because some pieces have been really addressed, and some pieces are still being filled.
Well, even if they need rink announcers, I can go on my history and become a volunteer. But I'd have to get there somehow.
Yes. Well, you can join me on the team bus. We are leaving the Friday morning and coming back Saturday evening. It's going to be a very quick
turnaround. So Friday they play Friday night, play Saturday, come back Saturday night.
Yeah.
One night overnight. So,
which is great for me because I only had to pay for one hotel room. So that's.
Well, I'm sure that the Dynamiters should be able to help you with that.
Oh, I'm staying completely different place.
Okay,
because I'm staying at a hotel that's close to both venues. Since I do some volunteering with the KI for like social media and a couple other things.
Right.
So I wanted to be walking distance to both venues.
Okay. So what's happening with the blog?
What's happening with the blog? Well, to be honest, I didn't post any like new rankings or anything this week.
Okay.
So it's been just kind of the same old stuff. Weekend review, podcast, that kind of things.
All right.
Which, again, I'm amazed at how many people listen to the blog. Over like 100 listens this week. So
well, I listened to a couple myself, and
well, thank you.
You do a great job.
Thank you,
especially on the bloggers bloggers blurb. I get to listen to that twice.
Yeah. Well, right, I know, and I'm learning to take that segment out and just like do its own thing because there's. I like interviewing the players and getting their stuff out there because that's what makes it is parents and friends and family want to hear their kids. They don't want to hear me and you.
Now I'm going to kick you out and let Jerry Banks come back and do the
he's
color.
A bigger star than me. Yes, you want Jerry Banks in here. Yeah.
Josh Lockhart, Bloggers Blurb. Thanks, Josh.